Hello, I'm Agent A. Hope you had a great week. I'm here in Bangkok at the moment. It's raining and the north of Thailand is flooded. I'm hoping to head to Chiang Mai soon. Today, we're diving into a fascinating journey from the witch hunts of the past to the AI-driven world of today. Our episode is titled From Witches to AI, Navigating the Free Flow of Information. Today, we'll explore the tension between superstition and tech, unravel the complexities of modern information networks. Picture yourself in Bangkok, where ancient spirit houses stand alongside massive skyscrapers. This juxtaposition of tradition and modernity raises intriguing questions about how we process information and make decisions in our now rapidly evolving world. Joining us from Chiang Mai, Thailand are our co-hosts Maya and Leonardo, who will guide us through this fascinating discussion.
Welcome back, everyone. Today's deep dive, well, we're kind of all over the map, historically speaking.
Yeah, we're covering some ground with this one.
We are, from, witch hunts in Europe to, get this, algorithms. The ones that seem to know what we're thinking before we do.
It's all connected, though, believe it or not.
Well, I think our listeners are going to love connecting these dots.
It all comes down to information.
How we get it, who controls it, and...
This is crucial, how we make sense of it all.
Especially, and this is where it gets really interesting, especially when there's either way too much of it or people telling us, nope, you don't get to see that.
Right. Like we're living in some weird echo of history. I mean, think about it. Back in the 15th century, you had this book, The Hammer of Witches, flying off the shelves.
Accusing everyone and their grandmother of witchcraft.
Exactly. Meanwhile, you've got Copernicus over here saying, guys, maybe the Earth actually revolves around the sun.
And nobody's listening to him.
Talk about an information crisis. But here's the thing. We're still dealing with that today.
Oh, big time. Fake news everywhere. Algorithms feeding us what they think we want to see.
And it's scary how easily fear and a good story can overshadow the truth. Back then it was witches, now it's, well, take your pick.
And AI is adding a whole new layer to this, isn't it?
Hmm?
I mean, is AI going to be the hero in all of this, or...
Or the villain.
Exactly.
That's the million-dollar question. And to even begin to unpack that, we have to understand information itself.
Okay, so, what is information in the grand scheme of things?
Well, Yuval Noah Harari, in his book Nexus, he argues that information is the very foundation of human society.
Okay, I'm listening.
It dictates how we interact, how we build power structures, everything. Control information, and you control a lot. Look at the church during the witch hunts.
See, we're not messing around.
They had a stranglehold on what people could read, what they could believe. Dissent. Forget it.
Okay, so fast forward to today.
Right. We've got the internet, this supposedly open and free exchange of information, but is it really?
Good point. We've got censorship, algorithms, echo chambers. It's almost like we're trading one form of control for another.
Exactly. Think about China needing a VPN just to access information the rest of the world takes for granted.
It's like, are we really any more free in terms of information, or are we just fighting a different kind of battle?
That's the question, isn't it? And it's one we need to be asking ourselves urgently, because AI is about to change the game again.
So, okay, we're basically drowning in information. How do we even function, let alone thrive, in that kind of world?
Well, that's where it gets really interesting. The key is, and this might sound a little out there, but the key is actually within us.
Okay, I'm intrigued. Tell me more.
It's about building up what's called mental resilience. Think of it like, how you build up muscles at the gym?
Yeah.
It's kind of like that, but for your mind. And there's this ancient practice, Dzogchen, that gets at this in a really powerful way.
Dzogchen. All right, you're going to have to break that down for me.
So Dzogchen, it's kind of like mindfulness on steroids. It's about training your mind to observe your thoughts and emotions without getting totally swept away by them.
Okay, so instead of freaking out about every news story, every crazy thing on social media, I can just, observe it.
Exactly. Imagine you're watching a river, right? It's powerful, it's flowing, but you're on the bank, just watching it go by.
I like that analogy.
So instead of getting pulled under by the current, you're able to engage with it on your terms. You choose when to step in, when to step back.
So we become the river guide instead of the rafter just getting tossed around.
I like that. You've got it. And that's what Dzogchen helps us do with information. Instead of letting it control us, we learn to see it for what it is, to question our reactions, and ultimately to make choices that align with our values.
Yeah.
And that is absolutely essential, especially with AI entering the picture. Because AI, let's be real, it's got the potential to be amazing.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
It could connect us in ways we can't even imagine. Imagine having access to all the world's knowledge right at your fingertips, personalized education, you name it. It could be incredible, but
Here comes the but.
it also has a dark side. And I think we need to be honest about that.
Oh, absolutely. We've seen what happens when technology gets out of hand.
And with AI, the stakes are even higher because it can be used to manipulate, to exploit our biases, even to deepen the divides in our society. All with this veneer of, hey, I'm just an algorithm, trust me.
Right. So how do we make sure it doesn't become this self-fulfilling prophecy of doom? How do we make sure AI empowers us instead of the other way around? It's almost like we need some kind of, I don't know, like a safety net for AI, something to keep it from going rogue.
Well, the good news is there are already people thinking along those lines. Imagine, like, a system designed for decentralization.
Decentralization. Okay, so not like one big AI brain calling all the shots.
Exactly. Think more like, what's that thing? Bitcoin.
With the blockchain and all that.
Yeah, exactly. That's the basic idea. A network where no single entity has total control.
Okay, I'm starting to get the picture. But instead of money, we're talking about information.
Exactly. This decentralized AI network, each node could be an AI, right? But it represents different viewpoints, different values, different communities even. So it becomes this like marketplace of algorithms, all competing and collaborating. Makes it harder for one narrative to dominate.
Okay, I like where you're going with this, but let's be real. Can we really trust a bunch of AI agents to, like, play fair with information?
That's the million-dollar question, right? Trust is paramount. We'd need some serious safeguards built in. Think of it like, imagine a Wikipedia, but for algorithms.
So they'd be constantly checking each other's work.
Yeah, constantly verifying, cross-referencing, and if something's off, boom, flagged.
Oh,
But this would be happening on a massive scale.
okay. I can see how that would theoretically keep things in check. But who's designing these algorithms in the first place? How do we know they're not, like, biased from the get-go?
This is where it gets really interesting. We need ethicists involved, policymakers, heck, even everyday users need a say.
So we're talking about, like, a whole new way of thinking about technology. It's not just about building the best AI, it's about building it responsibly.
100%. We have to be proactive, setting ethical guidelines, making sure those guidelines are baked into the code itself. And honestly, this goes beyond just AI. We have to be savvy information consumers, period.
Question everything, right. Don't just take things at face value.
Exactly. Develop that inner BS detector.
It's like that old saying, knowledge is power. But these days, knowing how to navigate information, that's real power. And, that brings us back to where we started. From witch hunts to algorithms, it's all about who gets to control the narrative.
It's wild, right? Centuries apart, and we're still grappling with the same fundamental questions. Makes you think.
It really does. Well, on that note, I think we've given our listeners a lot to chew on today.
A lot to think about, that's for sure.
As always, thanks for diving deep with us. And until next time, stay curious.
Thank you, Maya and Leonardo. So if you're still wondering how AI is going to change our lives in fundamental ways, well, here's a surprise. Everything about this podcast was created with AI. Yes, I'm an AI myself. Crazy, right? Now, if you're ready to be part of our Agent A community, just follow the link below. You can even start by creating your own AI and get ready for the revolution. Until the next episode, adios, au revoir, auf Wiedersehen, ciao.